Hey y'all, today I'm in Paducah, Kentucky to share the buried story of Speedy, the mortuary mummy. If you're local to the Paducah area, you're probably familiar with this story, but I wasn't, so when a viewer suggested that I do this one, I had to research it. And it's kind of hard to believe, actually, but here's the story. Charles Henry Atkins was born somewhere in Tennessee in 1875. He eventually came to Kentucky, most likely looking for work. When he was 53 years old, he was living in Paducah and working at the Dixon Tobacco Company. He got the nickname Speedy from how fast he could pack tobacco there. At the time of his death, his address was listed as 1031 Kentucky Avenue, and this Google Maps image shows what's there today. Speedy was a bachelor with no family nearby, and he liked to spend his free time fishing from the riverbanks near Owens Island. It was also said that he liked to sip on some homemade moonshine whiskey while he fished as well. Neighbors would see him often walking down the street with his fishing pole, headed for his favorite spot on the riverbanks. This photo from the Paducah Drone Facebook page shows Owens Island and where the Tennessee and Ohio rivers come together. The left side is the Tennessee River and the banks of Paducah where Speedy fished. Then one day in late May 1928, Speedy somehow fell into the river while fishing and drowned. There were no witnesses, but people have speculated that he either lost his footing and slipped on the rocks into the river, or perhaps he fell asleep after drinking and peacefully slid down into the river. We'll never know exactly what happened, but his body was recovered and he was taken to the only African American funeral home in Paducah, owned by A.Z. Hamock. Speedy and A.Z. were friends, and A.Z. knew that he didn't have any family close by to claim his body right away. Mr. Hamock was interested in embalming and body preservation techniques, and he decided to try to preserve Speedy for the arrival of his next of kin. So he made up a solution of chemicals and experiment on Speedy, and it worked too well. Speedy was turned to a reddish-brown color, and he became a wooden-like statue. No one ever came to claim Speedy's body, so A.Z. kept him at his funeral home in a closet, and he would sometimes bring him out for display. He was dressed in a nice burial suit with a fresh flower on the lapel when he was out on display for visitors. But in 1937, the Ohio River came after Speedy again, and his body was washed away in the floodwaters of the devastating flood. Once again, he was recovered from the river and brought back to the Hamock Funeral Home. The floodwaters didn't seem to cause any damage to Speedy's mummified body, and at first he was listed among the victims of the flood. The rescuers didn't realize that he was already dead before the flood and had been dead for nearly 9 years at that point. Word spread about Speedy, Paducah's mummy, and soon museums and even carnivals started calling and wanting to buy him for their displays or sideshow attractions. But A.Z. wasn't interested. He would respond to them by saying, "Slavery is over, and we don't sell bodies at the Hamock Funeral Home." He never charged a fee for people to see Speedy either. When A.Z. died in 1949, the funeral home and the care of Speedy was passed to A.Z.'s wife, Velma. Over the course of the next 45 years, Speedy would gain national attention and become a hometown celebrity for the city of Paducah. He was featured on the TV shows That's Incredible, Ripley's Believe It or Not, and CNN in the 1980s, A Current Affair in 1991, and Would You Believe It on the Discovery Channel in 2003, as well as being featured in numerous articles for newspapers, books, and magazines. The secret formula that AZ used to preserve Speedy was never sold, revealed, or ever used again. He took the formula to his grave. His death certificate states cause of death by drowning in Ohio River near Old Jailhouse in Paducah, Kentucky, probably accidental. Then in 1994, Velma Hamock decided to finally lay Speedy to rest with a proper funeral and burial. Over 200 people filled the Washington Street Baptist Church to pay their respects to Speedy. His funeral was paid for by donations from local businesses. No one at the service knew Speedy personally, but Ella Simmons from Baltimore sent a letter saying that she had known Speedy as a little girl because he would sometimes stay with her grandparents on Kentucky Avenue. As a child of about 5, she recalled that Speedy always had pennies for her and her sister. He was laid to rest in Maple Lawn Cemetery, August 5th, 1994, 66 years after his death. His headstone is hard to read, but it says Charles Speedy Atkins, 1875 to 1928. Lived 53 years as a pauper, embalmed by A.Z. Hamock. Buried 66 years later, August 5th, 1994, as a celebrity. His headstone features a fish, a nod to not only his favorite pastime, but also the cause of his death. Reverend Joseph Franklin, who spoke at Speedy's funeral, said he came to Paducah as a pauper, poor, homeless, a nobody. Today, he's going to be laid to rest as a celebrity. Rest in peace, Charles Speedy Atkins.